I want to give you a takeaway from some of my client sessions this past couple of weeks. And it seems like there's a consistent theme going on regarding things like faith, hope, stress, and anxiety, as well as lessons learned. And so I figured I'd share it with you guys. So, number one, what is faith versus hope? One of my clients had asked me the question about manifestation, and she was asking me. She's a Christian, and she said she doesn't really understand the difference between faith and hope. And I said it's kind of simple. Faith is hope with aligned action behind it. Faith is hope and work. And if you are, raised in the church or you're a Christian, you know that there's a Bible verse that says that faith without works is dead. It also, there's another scripture that says, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And it's easy to repeat those verses and to basically mimic what you hear in church, but it's a whole other thing to understand, and really have that in your heart. And so as we were talking, I had asked her, I was like, well, what are some of the things that you're working to manifest right now? What are some of the things you're hoping for? And she told me, and I said, okay, how are you putting that into action? What steps have you taken? What systems do you have? What processes are you doing? And she stopped to think about it. Now, this is a pretty high-performing individual, but when it comes to her passion and what she was wanting to do, she realized she hadn't really taken any aligned action. She was writing in her journal. She has a manifestation journal. She was praying about it. She had even fasted for it, but she had not actually done anything in the natural to achieve what she wanted to achieve. So I want to clear that up for you, especially for people who are hoping for things like growth in their business. And this is something that I personally was dealing with and still deal with. Sometimes if you're having faith or you're hoping for a certain outcome in your business or in your life, sometimes we can hope for things so much and put it out there in the universe or put an intention out there and start praying for it, and wonder why it never happens, wonder why we don't see it, or wonder why we only see it partially. And that's because we're not doing things intentionally. Every single desire that you have, if you want to see it made manifest, there has to be a certain intention behind what you're doing. There's a game called Township that I like to play. And when you're doing the match 3 game in there, I think it's Farmville. My bad. When you're doing the match 3, you can just start moving pieces and having them disappear. But if you don't look over to the side and see what the actual objective is, the objective may not be to remove the pieces that you're removing. The objective may actually be to get rid of a certain type of block, or to get rid of. So the objective may actually be to remove the acorns or to remove a specific piece. But if you're not intentional about it, and if you're not paying attention to the objective, then you're going to be wasting time and energy, right? And the goal is not, at least to me, is not to play the game for 6 hours straight. The goal is to maybe have a little diversion for 30 minutes and to achieve a certain place within whatever we're doing. In life, it's the same thing. If your objective is marriage, if your objective is children, if your objective is building something healthy, beneficial, long-lasting, then why are you out here playing? Dating, the objective, the end goal of dating is not just to see how many people you can sleep with. The end goal of dating is not just to say that you had somebody or to say that you were getting experience. The end goal is typically supposed to be for marriage, and not just marriage to just anybody, but marriage to someone you can build with. But if you don't know that that's the end goal, and maybe that's not your end goal, maybe it's the other person's though, then you're going to continue making the same mistakes over and over. And one of the things when it comes to faith and when it comes to hope, you can be having faith for, having hope for a particular type of person to come into your life. But if you don't know the real objective, then you don't know what action to put behind your hope. You don't know what aligned action to take. So you'll date just anybody, or you'll keep getting into relationships that don't serve you, that don't build you, that don't sharpen you. When you do take aligned action, when you do put your proper aligned action behind your hope, that's when faith starts to grow. That's when things start to happen. And so one of the issues that I was having personally in business is that I I was taking my cards and my flyers to certain networking events before I realized this is not even my ideal clientele. This is not the population or the demographic that I'm wanting to reach. So I had to rethink things. And once I re-examined and rethought things, my business started growing. The other thing is, when we are coming into a state of awareness, a state of who we are, what we are, when we start to recognize what our real goals are and what our real desires are, then we start to not only approach life intentionally as a whole, but we also start to recognize the lessons that we should have been learning all along. We've been repeating the same things over and over again, the same actions, getting results that we don't desire, that we don't want, wondering why. And that's because we are not recognizing that our intentions, while as good as they may be, they may not be the intentions that are needed to get the results that we desire. And so my mother always said that there's different types of sense. Like we say, common sense is not that common, right? So there's something she would call bought sense, right? Bought sense is that common sense that you had to get the hard way. You paid a hefty price for it. Perhaps you paid for it with your freedom and ended up locked up. Perhaps you paid for it with having relationships that really were not good for you, or being in something that took away or detracted from you. Perhaps you paid for it with your time and your energy that you can't get back, no matter how much you pay. Bought sense is very expensive, but it is a lesson that you never forget. When you get bought sense, that means you finally learned. And sometimes for some of us, it takes years and decades before we actually get what we paid for, before we recognize that our intentions and our attention went into the wrong thing. So we end up with an outcome we didn't desire. When you shift your intentions, when you shift your awareness of what it is you're doing and the outcomes that you've been getting, and you pay attention and you start to learn, that's when you have that bought sense. That's when you stop repeating the same thing over and over and over again, getting the results you don't want. So my takeaway from what my mother told me when I was growing up is that bought sense is fine. It's fine to have bought sense as long as you learn from it. It's fine to go through something and experience something as long as you learn the lesson, so you're not having to continue paying for the same thing over and over again. It's the equivalent to going to the store and purchasing something really expensive. You decide that you're going to go purchase a new PS4, or I don't know what's new out there now, but you decide to go and purchase a new PlayStation system, right? And you purchase it, you bring it home, and you start playing with it, but then you don't ever get the value out of it that you desire. So you say, I'm going to go purchase another one. You go purchase the next one, you start playing with it, but you're like, man, it's still not giving me the game I desired. It's not giving me what I desire. And as opposed to purchasing the system one time, saying, it doesn't have the games I desire, let me go purchase a different system. Let me go and do something else. I hope that makes sense. And that's really more so to explain to somebody who's younger. I hope that comes through to you and makes sense, because bought sense is so expensive. And the one thing we know that you can't get back is time. And for people who are younger, in their 30s and under, you don't even realize how young you are. 18 to 21-year-olds are saying 30 is old, and they have no idea, but they're going to get there someday. Hopefully, if they're blessed, if they're lucky, if they're fortunate. And they're not recognizing that the time they have right now is their biggest commodity. Your time is your most prized commodity and possession, and you're wasting it. And you're wasting it in the wrong relationships, in the wrong jobs, focusing on the wrong things. For people who are older, and so if you're older, recognizing that it still applies. This is for my intellectuals. This is for my readers. Bought sense is like buying a book, taking it home, and never reading it. Or worse, you buy the book, you take it home, you read it, but you never apply anything in it. We do not learn through osmosis. You go and you buy a book. So I'm going to use myself as an example, right? There's a book called The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. I can buy this book all day. All right, I can buy this book, bring it home, put it on my desk, stare at it all day, and guess what? Nothing's going to happen. I can buy this book, read everything, make all these notes and all the chapters, and never apply what I've learned. What's the point? I just wasted money and I've wasted time. The knowledge, the wisdom, the information is there for us to be able to use. But if we do not do this intentionally, if we don't set a plan, create systems, work the plan, work the systems, and become that very thing that we want, then everything that we've been hoping and praying for, working to manifest, to create, hoping that God will somehow, or the universe will somehow make it happen, but we're not doing what we need to do because of our deficiencies, because of our subconscious blocks, because of our desires to be in a relationship, to be loved, because we don't recognize that there are wounds there that need to be healed, things that we need to question. Why do we do what we do? If we're not doing all of that, then we're going to keep expending energy and keep putting out the wrong actions that are getting us the results and the outcomes we don't desire. So, with that said, I hope that helps somebody. I hope that that's a takeaway that you can use, because it's a theme, like I said, a common theme that comes up with my clientele, especially my coaching clients, but with my clients, even with hypnotherapy overall, when we're working to heal those subconscious wounds, heal those childhood wounds. Most of my clients have been going through cognitive behavioral therapy and traditional therapy for years and not having results until they have 1 or 2 hypnotherapy sessions to help them to remove those subconscious blocks, so that now the work that they had been learning before can have an effect. And one of the things that I would tell you as a takeaway too with hypnotherapy, one of the things I hear, especially with very religious people, they get very scared because they think someone's trying to control their mind, not recognizing that your mind is already being controlled. What hypnotherapy does for you, a good practitioner is going to do, is help you learn how to control your own mind, how to control your own thoughts. It's not about continuing to come to that person for a solution. The solution's already in you. A lot of times you have the tools you need, you're just not capable of using them because there is a deficiency, or there's something going on internally that is preventing you. There's something there preventing you from using the tools that you have at your disposal, but you don't even know that there's a block there, that there's something someone said or someone did years before, usually before the age of 7, but most certainly before the age of 10, and that has, like a seed, has grown over time to strangle out your dreams, your goals, your hopes, your aspirations, and to keep you small, to keep you feeling small, to keep you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish. But it should never, hypnotherapy, in my opinion, should never be something that you are compelled to do, or that you are doing to cover up something. It is something for self-exploration. It is something to be used to apply to your life in order for you to learn how to use your mind beneficially for yourself. And then after that, it should really move into coaching. It should move into, you have the tools now. There's not a subconscious block in you to prevent you from using those tools, but now you need to learn how to use them, how to apply them. And then that's where accountability comes in. And the accountability is everything. Without accountability, we don't accomplish. Without somebody to report to, whether it's to your higher power, or whether it is to a spouse, a friend, a family member, or a coach. That accountability is going to be what helps us to get to where we want to be, right? Because it also gives us that sense of accomplishment when we're able to say to the person, to our accountability partner, that, hey, I accomplished this thing. Because now it doesn't only become your victory, it becomes their victory as well. And that's when you start to build community. And fortunately for me, I've had some amazing accountability partners. I've had people who have questioned, have made me question, why are you doing what you're doing? Is this really what you feel pulled to do? Is this what God telling you to do? Or is this something that you're doing just because it's popular, or because somebody else told you should? And to have the accountability, it helps me to stay on track, to make sure that the things that I've been hoping and praying for, that the things that I've been desiring are not falling to the wayside and not getting accomplished simply because I'm off track, or because I'm expending energy in the wrong places, which I can be very guilty of doing for many reasons. And I think a lot of us can be, but it's easy to lose focus when you don't have accountability and when you don't know the objective. When you do know the objective, it's very difficult to take you off your focus. So write your vision, get your board, piece of paper, journal, write your vision, make it plain. Write out a plan, write out some systems, and follow the plan, work the plan until you get what you desire. That's when your faith has action behind it, and that's when you'll see it made manifest. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to like, follow, comment, share, and hit me up personally, DM or email. You can find me at green-hypnotherapy. My name is Sarah Green, Certified Clinical Hypnotherapist, and you can find me at green-hypnotherapy.com. I'm located in Tampa, Florida, but I have virtual sessions as well as in-office sessions. And once again, please remember, as always, you're not alone, and you got this.